Last time on Hakai, we witnessed the master of Kid Beerus easily erase a monster which escaped, or was sent, from the demon realm. Also, that the ruler of said place is plotting something sinister in the downfall of Terran the Destroyer. But today, we return to present time to follow God of Destruction Goku and what lies ahead. Pikkon just revealed the Celestial Mage's plan to resurrect a being who could easily best even Zeno himself, a Supreme Deity named Zaarat, leaving the Destroyers to each return to their own universes to find the 4 remaining Primordial Beast cocoons that, when joined together, will summon the ancient immortal. This is part 12 of an ongoing series and was created by Hakai. Support him and catch up fully using the links below. In a forgotten dimension of the universe, a lone chunk of land hovers high in the air, symbolically and literally adorned in chains. From within its compound, a frustrated voice shouts out, "For goodness sake!" That fatso will never wake up! Taking her hand from tapping to slamming the table in front of her, Tyra curses Rajan, jabbing that she's useless. What has she done to him? Who was sure she didn't do anything, even swearing upon it. During Zuno's kidnapping, while looking utterly terrified, it was nothing further than the roar from her little pet that launched him across the room and knocked him unconscious. Rajan relents that it just wanted to play, but it's just that Zuno is too weak. Tyra grits her teeth and hisses that now their enemies will have more time to act. If Zuno was conscious right now, they'd have the information they wanted and the Primordial Beast would already be in their possession. That's when a mysterious figure speaks up. They inform that Zuno has finally woken up, before addressing both Rajan and Tyra, and figuring that they're both into this sort of thing. They're the ones who are going to go in there and make them spit out the information they need. However, this is a command that appears to catch them both off guard. As the Omniscient is approached by the duo, the Neo-Tuffle snarls as she imagines he already knows what they want, doesn't he? With a fearful sigh, he does. They would like to know the location of the 5 Primordial Beasts, which is exactly what Tyra wanted to hear. Unsheathing a Keyblade, she threatens for him to spill everything he knows about him. But to her astonishment, he refuses, responding with a simple no. The Tuffle bewilderedly asks what he means no. Zeno calmly states that he won't say a thing about the knowledge they seek. The only way for him to surrender this information is by receiving a kiss, preferably from someone pretty. Not willing to back down herself, she inquires who this moron thinks he's talking to. Does he not fear death? And it just so happens that he became so frustrated after that Frieza guy threatened him, exposing his cowardice. He decided to focus on intense mental training. This way, he could overcome his fear of physical strength. And now, threats of violence won't work anymore. Ergo, if they want to kill him over this, they can just kill him. But if they choose to do so, they will never get what they want. Tyra doesn't care about this newfound mental fortitude of his. She'll teach him a lesson in not giving her what she wants. When it's shown that at least Rajan has her head on her shoulders, with bated breath, she offers without hesitation that she'll be the one to deliver the kiss he speaks of. She loves chubby cheeks like his. But as she goes to move in, Zuno panically cowers for this toad to get away from him. He doesn't accept kisses from ugly people such as her, causing her to scream who he's calling a toad. He's so rude. It's not her fault if she only had this junk available. But what does she mean by that? Can she steal bodies like Captain Ginyu? Or is this simply an impulsive comment with no actual background? Pushing her out of the way before we have any more time to think on the matter, Tyra growls that if that's the way it is, she's willing to play too. So a kiss, huh? That's the only way to get what they want? She too can be wild in more than one way. Strutting over to the chain soothsayer, Zuno winces as the Neo-Tuffle plants one directly on his left cheek. However, he appears somewhat unfazed. And with a giant smile, Tyra giggles for him to proceed with the information requested, and to know if he enjoyed his kiss from the goddess who is herself. Finally speaking with little enthusiasm, he resolves that she can ask him 2 questions. But 2 questions? He's joking, right? But no, he's not joking, so she is now free to ask her 2nd question. But, huh? That counted as a question? And it did. She is now out of questions. Furious, she curses the Omniscient in a bout of frustration and anger. Someone new enters the room. A strange, hooded figure who keeps to the shadows. They scoff that these 2 are such newbies at this. They would like to show them just how to take information from a punk like this. Outstretching an arm, the others stand on in amazement, thinking surely their ally isn't going to use this technique. But that's exactly what it seems to be. As the vulnerable Zuno lets out a helpless and appearingly lazy, "No, my God, no." He finally opens his eyes. He discovers that by the power of Japan, he is surrounded by a quartet of maidens. Bleeding from the nose and overwhelmed at these turn of events, he implores the villains to ask 100, no, 1,000 questions. With their path cleared, the mysterious figure chuckles that there's no one better than himself. Checking back in with the characters of Universe 7, after the 12 Gods of Destruction had their reunion, where the Celestial Guardian Pikkon gave them a mission. All of them went back to their own universes, either looking for the Primordial Beast cocoon or preparing for a probable battle, depending on if their respective universe contained an aforementioned cocoon. Presumably venturing back to his own planet, Beerus questions Pikkon that of all universes, he has no idea why the Guardian has chose to come here. Who believes that this place deserves special attention? Zuno was here, as well as some of the Dragon Balls, not to mention 2 of the 5 Primordial Beasts. As the list of events continue, here is also where the mages first attacked, and probably where their enemies will pay more attention. Since Beerus won the Tournament of Power, this universe became a target for everyone in Zeno's kingdom. What's more, this is Pikkon's own home and native universe. This is where he himself ruled. Something Beerus himself didn't even know. He ruled this universe. Letting loose a little info, he was the first god of destruction here. Surely Beerus' master Terran mentioned this. Or possibly Whis, who was the one who actually trained him. Smirking, the feline admits he thought his name seemed familiar. He just couldn't place his finger on it. Pikkon scolds that he should be more aware of his universe's history. He should know who the past gods are. In fact, this should be common knowledge. Only causing Beerus to spout that Pikkon is just as much of a butt as his master Terran was, and probably his master as well. Pikkon just sighs that Terran told him that he was hard-headed. Who's only amazed that Master Terran talked about him. How was that possible? Pikkon died way before Beerus himself was even born. With an eye roll, the Celestial Guardian jabs that his intergalactic traveler here seems really unaware of a lot of things. Terran, just like Pikkon himself, was killed by corrupted divinity, so he went to the Celestial world too. They reunited after death. He even became a Celestial Guardian too. Even after all these years, himself and Terran are still companions. Processing and understanding this, Beerus has to ask how he's doing nowadays. But he's dead. He died during the last attack, like most of the Guardians. Giving the Destroyer hope just to immediately tear it away. Meanwhile, in Universe 6, Goku thinks back to what Mr. Pikkon said. There's a powerful beast in this universe, and there's some bad guys coming for it. He excitedly wonders if he'll get to fight him. Gazing around, he's surprised to find out that Ms. Vados hasn't even returned back yet. What is he supposed to do now? He has no idea where this thing is, and he doesn't really know this universe all too well yet. When he gets an idea, that Supreme Lord Kaio girl named Lei will certainly be able to help him. Clenching his fist, he just needs to go ask her. Sensing her location, he remembers he has no idea where the Supreme Kais in this universe are either. He's pretty positive Miss Vados mentioned something like this. Trying to think. A few days ago, at the time of this discussion. With determination in his eyes, Goku questions how much time he needs to overcome Beerus' strength. Though, the angel only reprimands that he listened to what she has to say. Knowing his own universe is really important. The Saiyan apologizes, but her class was just kind of boring, so he got distracted. But he'll pay attention from now on, he promises. Letting out a breath of air, Vados decides she'll make all of this a little easier for her attention span challenged student. Using her staff, she projects an image of Universe 6. She explains that this universe, Goku's new universe, is like this. Beneath everything is the Hakai world, the kingdom of demons. Above that is the mortal world, where naturally the mortals live. Above the mortal world is the cosmos, which is what Goku normally calls Otherworld. This is not to be confused with outer space. To us fans, this means Hiffle, King Kai's planet, heaven, and places like Yama's check-in station, etc. Outside this realm, there is the Kai dimension, which can be seen orbiting all these other realms, in the center of which is the Supreme Planet, where the god of creation of each universe lives. And of course, there is also the Destruction Planet, which is Goku's new home, and where the two of them are now. And back to now. As Miss Vados explained, both his planet and Lia's planet are outside other realms. That means he can just ignore every other realm's energy and focus on what's left. It looks like this Kai dimension is constantly moving, but that's no problem. Locking on. He thanks his teacher as he zips away. At his destination on the Supreme Planet, it appears the newly born Supreme Kai is training with her teacher, Lord Kiboru. Down but not out. She shouts that it's not over yet. Here she comes! Choosing the worst possible moment to pop into the reality, Goku clutches his head as he beckons. What was that for? Are they trying to kill him? He swears he comes in peace. Taken aback at seeing her destroy her counterpart, she scolds him, pleading never to startle them like that again, prompting Kiboru to inquire what has brought Mr. Goku here in the first place. Cutting right to it, he informs the Supreme Kai that he needs her help. It's urgent. Meanwhile, on the Universe 7 planet of destruction, we rejoin the prince at his training. And it's just how he imagined. His Hakai mastery has grown a lot. But if we remember, only deities can actually use the real Hakai. So what Vegeta refers to must be the imitation. As our heavenly duo arrives, Beerus is shocked to see that Vegeta is already back on his feet after training in that hellish dimension. When the Destroyer last saw him, he was on the verge of death upon leaving him with Whis. That was only a few hours ago. Vegeta states that he was completely healed upon waking up, so he decided to continue his training, pressing Beerus to groan at the stubbornness at the Saiyans. They are truly hopeless. As Pikkon catches his attention, this guy, even though he can't sense his energy, his mere presence exudes a monstrous power, even more so than Beerus. Who is he? On cue, that's when the former introduces the pair and informs that he's here regarding certain matters in this universe. Looking around, Pikkon notices that Whis isn't here. He must be reunited with the Grand Priest and the Angels currently. What a shame. He was hoping to get to see him again. Stunning Vegeta, asking if he really knows Whis, who tells how he was Whis' disciple, and this universe's first God of Destruction, the one who preceded Beerus' predecessor. Although the prince takes interest in this first God of Destruction claim, Beerus interrupts and wishes to skip the small talk and get to what matters. He inquires Pikkon what exactly he plans on doing. Simply put, he thought that both of them could go after Janemba. Right now, he's under Frieza's control, a mortal from this universe. And given that these are Beerus' mortals, he would like him to join him so he can be the one who deals with them. Although he remains silent, Vegeta assumed Frieza would eventually get himself into trouble again. Actually, this time it took a bit longer than he thought it would. Beerus then asks about the other part of Majin Buu, the part that Goku did not destroy, that is. His cocoon also resides in this universe, Pikkon tells him not to pay any mind to that for now, as he prepared ahead of the destroyer's gathering. He already asked a reliable guardian to retrieve and transport it to the celestial world. In fact, he guarantees it's in good hands. Deep in space, we find ourselves on a magma planet. As one of the unnamed guardians from before is seen blasting out with a cocoon in tow. Sure enough, Pikkon was right about it being in good hands. With our heroes, Beerus rubs his chin with a bit of annoyance. Pikkon is acting rather intrusively, is he not? He comes here acting like he already has permission and is acting freely. But if he already has someone to fetch the cocoon of Majin Buu, Beerus wants to know why he bothers to come to him at all. He thought he would have to take care of at least one of these primordial beasts by himself, just like Goku, Liquir, and Belmont. Vegeta takes note that Kakarot is already aware of the situation, and it looks like the other gods are as well. Addressing the concern, Pikkon explains how they decided not to leave any beast to Universe 7 alone. As stated previously, this universe specifically will be targeted by the Celestial Mages, the motives of which are multiple. This way, they can lessen their struggles. Furthermore, the unfortunate situation is that the Universe 7 Destroyer is a negligent god who dislikes taking responsibility. Securing Janemba and Majin Buu is merely a matter of security, causing Beerus to quip that he really liked Pikkon a whole lot more when he didn't know who he was. Walking away in a bit of a huff, the Destroyer addresses the Saiyan as he reaches into his belt. Retrieving some sort of object, he tells him to take this. Asking what this earring is, Beerus tells how it's a symbol that proves Vegeta can use the God of Destruction powers, a scene that also played out in Dragon Ball Super. But since this story diverts before the Granola arc, here we are again. Beerus then tells the prince that with this, it'll be like he's representing him. This confuses Pikkon. Why is he doing this now? What is he planning? The god reveals that it will be Vegeta who goes on this mission. But what does he mean? He's giving a job this important to Immortal? This is a new level of negligence, even for him. But it was Pikkon himself who said he is known for being negligent. So what's the surprise? Their time is up, by the way. He is this universe's god, so he can do what he wants. And right now, he wants to take a nap. As the god makes his way off, Pikkon insults that he is truly a disappointment. He's not even half of what his master was, who only waves him goodbye as he yawns that he leaves this in Vegeta's hands. While the look the Saiyan gives him can be interpreted many ways, it likely spells the confusion going on in his mind as to why Beerus would do this, not believing it simply because he actually wants to nap. Either way, as he attaches the earring, Vegeta doubles back to how Pikkon mentioned Frieza is involved in this. But does he have a plan to get to his location? And right now, the Guardian doesn't know where he is. He had seen him on Zuno's planet by random chance, but since the Saiyan actually knows him, he's hoping he can locate his key. Alas, he likely must be very far away from here, though with teleportation, they could get to him pretty fast. Unfortunately, he can't sense his key from here unless he was emanating it intensely, something Pikkon reveals he can help with. He would like him to focus on Frieza's key for a moment, at least to the best of his ability. Trying to do so. The former destroyer places his hand on his shoulder, taking the prince aback and asking what he's doing. Pikkon explains how he has the ability to amplify his senses. That way, his key sensibility will dramatically sharpen, and he'll be able to find Frieza much easier. Not amused by his assistance, Vegeta can only think of what a shameful rascal this guy is. Admitting he's already found him, the Guardian instructs him to take them both there. Vanishing with what seems to be his version of the instant transmission, given in this story he did still train on Yardrat. He takes them to not one, but a system of 5 planets named the Quinn Planets. On one in particular, Vegeta's confused. By his calculation, they should have been taken to exactly where Frieza is, more than likely his ship. Pikkon admits that a powerful battle could damage such a ship and risk Janemba's pod, so he decided to divert them slightly with a little key manipulation. Here, they can battle with far less concern. Frieza will pass by soon, and then they can make their approach. But Vegeta doesn't like that he messed with his senses. though Pikkon quells him not to get mad. If Janemba woke up in an aggressive state, he would understand why he did it. Putting this aside, the Saiyan figures that since Frieza's yet to arrive, he would like to know what is happening. This all looks like a real hassle. So he reveals to the prince what was already revealed to us. His universe is going to be a hotspot for the enemy sooner or later. This conflict will involve Vegeta himself. He will explain everything. Meanwhile, in Universe 8, as Liquir transports one of the cocoons, he thinks to himself that it was really hard to convince those guardian pups to allow him to fetch this thing on his own. But what were they really going to do? It's not like they could actually oppose him. As he touches down, a feminine voice, familiar to us, calls out that the God of Destruction sure took his time. Spotting it came from the forest, the destroyer shouts back for whoever it is to reveal themselves. Propelling herself to be face to face with the god, Liquir can tell that even without revealing her power, he can sense a real menacing force coming from her mere presence, very similar to how Vegeta felt with Pikkon. We zoom out to find them on an enormous tree trunk. Tyra narrates a little of what she knows about her adversary here. Liquir is said to be one of the most intelligent and studious of all the destroyers of this generation. Even if she herself looks a little different now, she thought that surely he would recognize the Grand Goddess Queen of War from Zaarat's kingdom. Which rings an instant bell with her opposite, Tyra, the Grand Warrior Mage. She's part of the 5 Grand Celestial Mages. This recognition causes her to grin with excitement, though he claims it was rather bold of her to come to his universe, even more so to trespass specifically on his own planet. She ironically apologizes and promises it wasn't her intent to offend him, so if he were to be so kind as to hand over that cocoon there, she'll go and hatch it and leave immediately. But we all know it can never be that easy. As the god hisses, there's no way that's happening. Back on Earth in Universe 7. Young Oob is found sprinting away from a dinosaur. As in the distance, a somewhat familiar figure stands in attention. Taking down the monster, the boy calls out, Master Choppa, who was an opponent of Goku all the way back in the 22nd and 23rd World Tournaments. He sternly tells the student that he is fast enough to flee from a creature like this if it wasn't for that water barrel strapped to his back. Next time, he shouldn't so needlessly risk himself. Life is worth way more than this. With tears in his eyes, he meekly explains how he only wanted to bring water to alleviate all the thirsty people in their village. Choppa ruffles his hair, responding he knows. Oob will certainly bring them all prosperity in the future with his strength. That is why he is training the child. As an even bigger dinosaur comes speeding towards him, it's the creature's mother. Vaporizing it almost instinctively. Choppa knew it. This boy is special. Even more so, he's as innocent with a good heart, just like another youngster he fought back in the day. When a sinister voice cackles, it would be really bad if this kiddo were to die. Revealing another masked figure like before. Could they be part of the Celestial Mages? Or even the same who persuaded Zuno to talk? As Choppa demands the stranger reveal his identity, they scoff for the old man to get out of the way, as they don't have time to deal with garbage like him. But the old master resolves that they'll just have to see if he's going to be talking the same way in a few moments. However, given the difference between them, the villain shows that even if he were to elevate his power a little, the force would cause the old-timer to shatter. Oob rushes over to his master to see if he's okay, but is quickly intercepted by the fiend. Reaching out with a reptilian-like hand, he commands the boy to come with him. When he's stopped by none other than Beerus, and as we get a closer look of the cloaked man, he appears to be much slimmer than the one who dealt with Zuno. With a snarl, he snorts that it was pretty tricky of Beerus to approach him without being noticed, calling him out by name to show he knows exactly who he is. But the god only tells him not to hold his breath in facing the boy. The fight is with him. On the Quinn Planets. Vegeta thinks he understands the situation as explained. But wouldn't it be easier to use the Super Dragon Balls to settle this matter? After all, it's said they can do anything. And while that would be best, it just so happens to be that their enemies destroyed them. Now neither the Super Dragon Balls or the lesser powered derivatives in any of the 12 universes can be used, since the smaller ones were linked to the bigger ones. So he's saying that even the ones on Earth won't work anymore. But they don't have time to discuss this any further. Frieza is making his approach. Since they have a few options, Vegeta figures they just have to wait a little longer. Then they can get the party started. On the ship, Cooler questions his brother what he plans on doing with this thing, likely referring to how he intends to hatch it. Who elaborates that he didn't think it would be this complex. Alas, he was mistaken. Since they're about out of options, they'll simply have to use brute force. Rattled by this answer, Cooler inquires if he's sure about that. He himself said this thing was really powerful and unstable. It could turn into a huge problem for the both of them. With a smirk, Frieza knew there could be risks in dealing with these primordial beasts, but Pikkon has been working very hard to learn a way to contain them. He developed a special necklace, way more powerful than the one used to control Broly. It should be enough to halt an extremely powerful being, even this Janemba. Understanding a bit more, the Elder Frost Demon stands with his sibling. If that's what's needed for this to be done, they'll find a proper place to do it. Suddenly, their ship hits more than a fair amount of turbulence. Shouting out to know what that was, Pikkon alerts his master. Someone has fired upon their vessel. He'll quickly search for the whereabouts, only to discover it's Vegeta. But what's he doing all the way out here? And who is that standing with him? And Vegeta, isn't he one of the Saiyans who overpowered Frieza? The last of the Saiyan's royal lineage. The very same. He must have come all the way out here to meddle in their business. Cooler figures this will be the perfect opportunity to crush him like an insect. Together, he doesn't stand a chance with their new training. Frieza agrees. He then demands Pikkon to reveal exactly where he is. Accurately tracking him down, the underling divulges that he's on a group of planets called the Quinn Planets. It's very near to here. The Frost Demon plots that he and Cooler will fly out and confront him. Meanwhile, Pikkon is to take the ship there, but maintain a safe distance and keep alert if help is needed. With the plan understood, and as the invaders land, Vegeta recognizes Cooler as the same race as Frieza and Cold, but doesn't recognize him specifically. Frieza cackles what a sad sight it is seeing Vegeta here. So pray tell, what does he want with him? Pikkon instead speaks up that in the name of the Celestial Guardians, he demands they hand over Janemba, or he'll be taken by force. But Celestial Guardians? He thinks he remembers those 3 fools who guarded Janemba mentioned being part of some kind of group. If that's the case, Frieza states that he's not startled or intimidated by Pikkon's presence. Like them, he must be nothing more than a little bug. The prince warns his foe to choose his enemies wisely. This man next to him was a god of destruction at one time, even on par with Beerus' power. Or maybe he's even more powerful. But a god of destruction more powerful than Beerus? That can't be! Cooler gazes upon his brother with disappointment in his voice, asking what's wrong with him. He needs to stand straight and not shame his family. Their power has grown a lot over the time since they've been training together, so he's sure they can bring him down. But Frieza chokes out that Cooler doesn't get it. If this man is indeed stronger than Beerus, this is a battle they can't win. Hearing this new Frost Demon's name, Vegeta seems to remember something about him, likely his status as a member of Frieza's family. Frieza knows that a sibling has yet to see the power a god of destruction possesses. He's completely blind to what he's walking into. In that case, there's only one way for he himself to flee safely. Though he's sorry for his brother, his time has come far earlier than he previously foresaw. Screaming for Linzier. Yardriden is quick to get his master off the battlefield and back on the way to safety, leaving Cooler to only wonder what the meaning of this is. On the ship, he demands Pikkon to get them out of here now and as fast as he can. watching the ship disappear into space. The remaining villain curses his kin as a spotted coward. Pikkon reminds that it's Janemba's pod that matters. They should forget this one and go after Frieza instead. But the Saiyan isn't willing to let an opportunity like this get away. He'll stay and fight cooler. Since Pikkon now knows Frieza's ki, and has great ki sensing ability, he should be able to find him without his help. Though no matter the circumstances, the Guardian is not to interfere in this battle. It will be an unforgivable offense. Letting out yet another sigh, as he's become accustomed to doing since coming to the 7th universe. He scoffs that Saiyans are all the same. He knows someone just like Vegeta here. Pikkon informs he's going after Frieza, and if he finishes his mission before the prince deals with his own business, he will not interfere with this fight. That's a promise. As Cooler's happy to see one of the warriors leave, Vegeta calls out his foe. He barks that he better forget about that other guy, because he is his problem for the time being. With Pikkon going directly after Janemba, what could have prompted Vegeta to abandon the mission to focus solely on Cooler? Could he finally remember some of the Frost Demon's wrongdoings from his childhood? Or is the simple lone fact that he is Frieza's brother enough for him to want to plant him in the dirt?